right. What is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Friday to you guys. Be careful out there. We are seeing continued volatility in the crypto markets. Let me know, can you guys hear me okay? And can you guys see everything okay? And then we will get started here. And welcome in, Humbletti, Johnny Novaks, Fruit Market, Crypto Wanderer, Grotto EZ, Tidy Dave, Michael M, Ludong, what's up? Andrew, welcome in, guys. Thank you guys for joining. We are going to get into it today. Bitcoin is continuing to drop, continuing to lose some key local support levels, and we still have not hit our local support level we talked about yesterday. But many of the altcoins are dropping a bit more, and we are seeing continued dumpage on the altcoins. Okay, all right. Happy Friday, Jesus Save 77. Welcome in, man. Okay, guys. So Bitcoin is continuing to drop. And after seeing a small bounce yesterday where we talked about looking for a lower high to come in on the charts, we are seeing continued droppage down to our support levels, our local support levels. But Bitcoin is losing key support levels that we talked about yesterday and is likely to continue dropping. What's up, False Prophet? Welcome in. Thank you for joining. So, guys, we are getting close to our support level of yesterday. The daily level at about 116.5. It's also going to be the golden pocket of our entire impulse up. If we just take that golden pocket, you can see that golden pocket is coming in around 116.7 to about 116.3, with the value area low being about 116.2, and we are starting to develop some bull divs coming down into that area. I do expect some sort of bounce in this area, but overall, the Bitcoin and the crypto market is continuing to drop, and I do think this correction will continue at least for a little bit longer, possibly even up to a couple weeks. We are confirming some pretty high time frame bear divs with money flow leaving the asset. So if we go on to the daily chart, you guys can see here on the daily chart, we have now made higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves here, lower highs in the momentum waves. On Nami, it is very small, if not at all, but we are seeing that bearish div. And the big part is on Nami, the bearish divs on the money flow. As we have been getting higher and higher in the price action, money flow has been making bearish divergence from our tops here, and it is continuing to overall drain out of the asset on larger time frames. Yes, we are seeing a little bit of green price action here in the last couple of days, but that is starting to roll over here. So bigger bearish divergences confirming on the daily time frame can give us a bit of a push down. At least if we're even looking at this as a range here, we could push down to the bottom of the range to take out the range lows, seeing sort of a flat correction in here before continuation to the upside. So I am overall expecting Bitcoin to continue in this bull market. Yesterday there was a little bit of confusion on that while I was explaining the higher time frame bearish divergences or the bearish scenarios, but I am not saying that the bear market is here yet. I'm saying now that we have confirmed a new all-time high, a breakout, a failed auction of the prior all-time high from a month ago, and we are back in the range, we can at least expect a little bit of a significant correction to come in here. And in the very, very bearish scenarios, we can expect a much larger correction, possibly down to the low 70s. That is not the highest probability yet, though, and we will go level by level. And as this correction develops, we will see what kind of new data comes in on the charts, letting us know if this is going to be a smaller correction in this area or a much deeper, bigger correction down to significant lower targets. So, yeah, Bitcoin confirming some bear divs, confirming local rejections. If we go zoom into the hourly chart, what I was actually watching for this morning and really as it's happening right now is we had finally lost yesterday. We came down to our anchored VWAP, to our point of control of the range. We saw a small bounce from that area, but we couldn't even take out our local highs. We couldn't even break local market structure bullishly. And because of that, we can expect continued downside here. Was not able to break this market structure, and now we are losing the point of control. this morning, back testing that point of control, back testing that anchored VWAP, and seeing a rejection as we speak, looking now to continue down to actually hit our target that we did front run this morning as well. So I am expecting some sort of bounce at this target because we are developing some bull divs on the chart, lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the momentum waves here. But our money flow is still draining out of the asset, about to cross over into the red here. And when we see those bull divs with money flow going against those bull divs, we might see a bit of a bounce there, but we got to look for a lower high to come in, or even possibly a range to be forming in this area over the weekend, because we are going into the weekend. And at least on Saturdays, we do know that there is very low volume, very low volatility, and we just really can form the ranges. So looking for a little bit of a relief bounce to come in soon. But overall, let's go ahead and jump in on to let's go onto our bigger chart here, and we're going to talk about this Fibonacci channel that I showed you guys yesterday. So first off, let's zoom out to the 3-day time frame, and we will just discuss what is potentially happening here. And let me hide some of this stuff. Let me hide these trend lines. There we go. Let's hide this. You guys can see that this Fibonacci channel, pulled from the very, very beginning of the bull market, has been really highly respected. It's been our trend for the entire bull market. And after losing the pink, first of all, this pink channel is the main channel pulled from the bottom. So that's the top of the channel. That's the bottom of the channel. The white line is the midline of the channel. And this is our overall macro trend for the bull market. Broke out of the macro trend, came up to the 1.618, made a new all-time high in 2024, corrected back down to that midline, bounced from the midline, could not quite make it up to that 1.618 again, but you guys can see that this midline has really been key support through a majority of the bull market. Now we are losing, well, we are coming after bouncing from the midline earlier in April. We came up to the top of the channel. We saw a rejection from the top of the channel. We had a $13,000, $14,000 dump to the downside in a 3-wave corrective move, and then made another run at the top of the channel. We rejected the top of the channel again after seeing what we would call a failed auction breakout of the top of that channel. So let's just go on to the 12-hour chart. You can see here, broke above it just briefly, lost it, range sideways, back tested it a couple times within the range of the past month and a half. And on a second attempt within this range, we came up to that on Wednesday, rejected that area, and now we are seeing some bearish, really a bearish engulfing daily candle. If we go on to that daily candle, you guys can see after rejecting, bearish engulfing daily candle and confirmed bear divs on the daily, with money flow topping out and starting to come down now, we could expect that this correction goes a little bit longer and forms a bigger sideways range or a bigger potential flat correction in this area before continuing to make another run at that channel to see if we can break out of the channel and push up into new levels of price discovery. But I would say this trend, this macro trend of this Fibonacci channel is a significant vertical trend. And it is going to be very hard for Bitcoin to sustain such a high trend for too much longer. And so I am worried about this being a bearish backtest of that channel and seeing a much bigger drop, potentially all the way down to the midline, which is about that 100K, 101K area of support. And we could see that. We could see even an SFP of the 98.2K lows coming down, hitting into that channel, seeing a little bit of a wick past the channel like we saw in this area, a little bit of wick past the midline, wicks past the midline here, wicks past the midline. And we could see something like that again over the next couple of weeks if Bitcoin loses its upper range, which would be in this area here. Okay, let's zoom in here. Let's go on to the 2-hour chart. So we are coming up to local support. I do expect that bounce from local support, but let's go ahead and go into our total market cap chart. And one of the things that I want to highlight to you guys in the total market cap chart, let's zoom out onto the daily time frame. We are rejecting from that upper band again. And when we're seeing this rejection, we're seeing the bearish engulfing candle on the daily time frame. Let me just hide this stuff real quick. And we are seeing a bit of a corrective move down. Confirmed bear divs also on the total market cap. Confirmed bear divs, money flow bear divs, confirmed bear divs on NAMI, money flow bear divs on NAMI. And these larger time frame signals can at least give us a hint that we might be seeing a bigger pullback or a bigger range forming that could be for the total market cap, this upper range here, where we could expect to at least come down to our golden pocket area. And now, if we go into our 4-hour chart, this was very, very clearly a 5-wave impulse to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After finishing any impulsive structure, you are looking for a corrective move. Generally, that 3-wave correction does bring you down to your golden pocket before seeing continued impulsive price action to the upside. So if we're looking locally on the total market cap, we can turn on that Fibonacci from the lows of the impulse to the highs of the impulse. That Fibonacci, that golden pocket is going to be coming in around 3.78 to 3.76 trillion. Now, let's zoom in on the 1-hour chart. And what we're looking for really is that 3-wave corrective move. So we got our first initial push down, we got a relief bounce, and now we are pushing down again here. And generally within this 3-wave corrective move, you're looking for an impulse here, a 3-wave correction here, and another impulse here within the C wave down. And if we take our trend-based Fibonacci extinction and we go from the highs of A to the lows of A to the highs of B, then the target for this correction is between the 1-to-1 Fibonacci and the 1.236 Fibonacci extinction. You can see we do have some very nice confluence in there with our golden pocket. And if we are going to bounce from our golden pocket and continue impulsive price action to the upside, we might expect the total market cap to continue dropping here in a sort of impulsive structure, a 5-wave impulse down here until we hit that $3.76 trillion market cap and see a bigger relief bounce from there. So we could see continued bleeding on the altcoins and on Bitcoin throughout the weekend, throughout next week, and lower targets to come, really, with some relief bounces along the way. We will get some relief bounces, but we should be expecting lower highs to come in. So scalp long opportunities that could turn into something bigger. But if it's a scalp, if you guys are trading against our local trend, now our more macro trend is bullish, and that's why you always should leave some to run. But if you are scalp trading against our local trend, just be willing to take profits at local resistances, be willing to move that stop loss up into break even, and be willing to get stopped out on some of these scalp long trades. Eventually, one of these long trades could play out to become a bigger swing trade. And that's why we're always going to be mapping out those targets, getting ready, planning our trades ahead of time, calculating that risk ahead of time so we are prepared for whatever happens when that target does get hit. Okay, let me jump in the chat here, say hi to everybody. So welcome in. Tiamat, welcome in, man. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being a mod. Paper Beats Rock, what's up, man? Archie TV, welcome in. Yes, we will do, let's see, only thing that looks good right now is ADA. Yeah, ADA actually does look really strong compared to a lot of the altcoins, compared to the entire market. So, and Humble Eddie, I saw you posted about this right before. Yes, I'm actually looking for that same exact area for a bounce. That is your golden pocket. And, you know, the explanation for that is we did see that 5-wave move to the upside. And after an impulse completes, generally, if this is going to be a bigger, you know, we saw our 3-wave correction here, 3-wave correction. We got an impulsive price action. After a 3-wave correction, we got impulsive price action. So what that tells me overall is that we are still bullish. Our higher time frame momentum is still bullish, and our bias on higher time frames should still be bullish. So now we're really going to want to be looking for that 3-wave corrective move with some, you know, lower highs and higher lows in the making. Excuse me, lower lows and lower highs in the making, and see a bigger bounce from our more macro support levels coming up here. But yes, that area is a key area of support for the total market cap. We do have the bear divs that show us that we could see that continued bleeding down for just a little bit. And we are going into the weekend, seeing some rangy price action, seeing a bit of some dumpage happen here. Confirmed bearish signals on the chart. What's up, JW? What's up, Liam? JD11. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. So, guys, before we go on, I do want to talk about the partners of the channel. One of the main partners of the channel is ByteFi. They are a KYC free exchange and a VPN free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. I have partnered with ByteFi, and we have created a Telegram group where I do post some of the trade setups, post my market analysis in there, And if you want to get into that Telegram group, it's free, but all you need to do is sign up using my affiliate link in the description, deposit $100, and first of all, you'll get $50 as a deposit bonus to help you start your trading journey, and 17% off discounts on trading fees. And then also, if you can deposit more, there is other various 10 to 20% discount initial deposit bonuses. And then, depending on how much you deposit, you can get much bigger discounts on your trading fees. So they actually have some of the best maker and taker fees in the market here. And your fee level, let's just bring this up real quick. So your fee level will get more discounted the more you deposit. So if you deposit $10,000, you can get up to 30% off fees. Actually, not up to 30%. You can get 30% off fees. Deposit $50,000, you can get 40% off fees. And if you deposit $100,000, you can get 50% off fees. So that's significant when it comes to bigger accounts. Those fees really do impact your profits. And so they've done this for me. This is really awesome that they're doing this because generally, in order to get to the SVIP level, you need to have $2 million in your account. But for them, for our community, they have just lowered that to just 100K. If you have just 100K in your account, you can get that SVIP level. And also, if you sign up using my affiliate link, you automatically get put into VIP2 status. Up to 20, I think they now have increased it to 20% off discounts on trading fees. So that's BuyFi. Second partner of the channel is Nami Trading. Nami is a momentum and money flow indicator that I use for exit and entry confirmations on trades. It's partially what I look at for bias for continuation in a trend. And right now, Nami and Market Cipher B are telling me that overall this downtrend could continue. So they are very, very helpful when trying to establish whether to enter or exit trades. And especially on scalp trades, Nami is very, very quick with money flow, with the momentum waves. So if you're interested in purchasing Nami, the link is in the description. And we do have a discount code, a 50% off discount code running for a limited time. If you're interested, Divine50 is the discount code, and the link's in the description. And then the last two exchanges that I'm partnered with, I both think they're both reputable exchanges, low fees. It's MEXC and Bybit. And they are both offering various rewards if you sign up using my affiliate link, up to $30,000 in bonuses with Bybit and up to 20% initial deposit bonus with MEXC. So, okay, that is the partners of the channel. Guys, if you get anything out of this video, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and we will just get started. We'll just keep going on this TA. So the thing that really is worrying to me is this rejection from this macro resistance here. And the reason why this is so concerning to me is because this is our main channel. This is the main channel that started the bull market. Yes, you will see breakouts of that channel, especially in Elliott Impulse trends. You generally break out in your third wave. You generally break out of the top of that channel, hit into a resistance above, and then you will retrace to either backtest that channel and continue higher, or fall back in the channel and hold some of those local supports. But we have attempted now to break this channel a few times. We've been successful a couple times, formed a range, broke out of it, formed a range, fell back in it. So now we are back inside that channel. And as long as we are back inside that channel, we might be seeing a larger correction to the downside. We might have seen that failed auction breakout of the all-time high with continued momentum to the downside. And the reason that I'm getting bringing more attention to this than not is because of our weekly bear divs. We have monthly bear divs, we have daily bear divs. And anytime you see multiple high time frame bear divs like that in confluence, we can expect that a bigger, longer term correction could be in play if we break the market structure bearishly on the daily time frame. So for me, and on the weekly time frame. So for me, on the weekly time frame, the low that's coming in around 111,900 is going to be a key low to maintain above. Now, we could do just a swing failure pattern of that low to grab the liquidity and then push right back up. I do think that would be acceptable overall to maintain bullish market trend. Technically, it would be a break, but overall, I think that we could see a drop back down to that area, or even back down to that very key 108K support, which is going to be our macro value area high, our golden pocket. We have a daily level, and then the pitchfork is no longer down there because you see as time goes, that pitchfork changes. It's a dynamic resistance. But if we look at those 111,900 lows, you can see that our anchored VWAP from our previous all-time high. Now, this is key to maintain momentum above our previous all-time high, not just from a month ago, but from earlier in 2025, from back in May of 2025. And if Bitcoin wants to maintain a true breakout into levels of price discovery, continued targets, even in more macro timeframes, to new levels of price discovery, then it is really going to be key to maintain above the anchored VWAP from our previous all-time high, from our major all-time high, our major previous all-time high. And so that anchored VWAP is coming in right around our local range lows. And this is our local range that we are trading right now. We did see a failed breakout of that range, and now we are back inside the volume profile, almost filling it all the way. So that's why this local level coming up here is going to be a key support, because it is going to be considered the undervalued area for Bitcoin within the last 5 weeks or so. We could suspect some sort of bounce there. And if the market is still bullish more macroly on Bitcoin, then buyers will be willing to step in at undervalued portion and at least attempt to push it up to new all-time highs or new levels of price discovery. But if we lose that value area low, then really we're going to suspect that we could drop all the way back down to take out those range lows. We did front run that anchored VWAP last time by a few $100 because we bounced from our Pitchfork channel, or a lower band, excuse me, bounced from the Pitchfork lower band. And you can see here, if we do bounce from this local support, come up, reject the value area high, and lose this range, then we might suspect that we get a drop all the way back down to take out the liquidity of the lows of the range into the bottom of the Pitchfork, into our anchored VWAP that will be right around that area. And we would really want to hold that area, maybe see that liquidity grab, reclaim, and then start to reclaim some of these levels and push up into new levels of price discovery. Overall, I do think we have more local downside. All indications with money flow are more local downside. Rejecting after losing the point of control today of our range, backtesting not only the point of control but the anchored VWAP, rejecting that. I am looking for that bleed down to that 116.3K area, 116.5K area of support. It is setting up for a nice scalp long opportunity from this area. And I will try to keep you guys updated in the Telegram, or actually, it might even happen while we're live here today in the live stream. But if we can break down to that level of support, seeing continued local bull divs on the chart, then I would be willing to attempt a scalp long opportunity from that area. You can see money flow has been crossing up into the red. It is now bleeding out on Market Cipher B again, and also on NAMI. We are still in the red. It is coming to the upside, and this is very, very key, what we saw earlier today. So let me just clean this chart up real quick here. On NAMI, on the bearish backtest of our point of control, just about an hour, 2 hours ago, right up here, we printed a hidden bearish div signal, which is a continuation signal. And we are rejecting from that area, confirming that continuation to the downside. We did front run that key support earlier this morning, and now for me, it is highly likely that we do drop down to hit into that support level. If we hit into that support level, we want to see those continued bull divs forming. Bull divs on the chart. We want to see this money flow continuing to rise to the upside. And guys, where NAMI really kicks in and shines is on these local bull divs that we see, because it is quicker with momentum and the money flow. If NAMI is showing that money flow continuing overall to curve to the upside with another drive of bull div here, then I would be willing to attempt a scalp long opportunity from here. Let's zoom out onto our 4-hour chart. On the 4-hour chart, you can see that we have printed some significant bear divs on the chart, rejecting from our Fibonacci channel, the top of the Fibonacci channel. So higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves here, and money flow is finally starting to top out here and looking like it wants to start to roll over. And if money flow starts to roll over and drain out on the 4-hour time frame, yes, we can expect bounces along the way, but lower highs and lower lows, continuing to see that bleed out. Also on NAMI, we do have some bear divs here printing, and money flow is about to cross over into the red on the 4-hour chart. Okay. But that's about it for Bitcoin, guys. Liquidity, we've taken out all the local liquidity above us, and now we're really looking for a push down. Unfortunately, the majority of the liquidity that is local is going to be to the downside. You know, we are coming up into some of that liquidity right now. You can see we haven't quite hit it. coming down to that 116.3K area of support would grab a majority of that liquidity, at least locally, where then we could see a local bounce here to get at least a relief rally. If we go on to the Model 2, now after coming down to get that local liquidity, you can see that in our past 24 hours, there is a lot of short positions that have opened and they have put their stops up above that 120K high. If we come up here, that 120K is the value area high of our range. So we do have a lot of liquidity above the value area high of the range. And we could continue to see rangy type price action here where we do continue down, bounce from our value area low. If we reclaim that point of control, we can expect to move up to that value area high to fill in some imbalances in the market, the fair value gaps in here, just to roll over and continue this range bleed here. So locally, we do have some setups to look at, some scalp positions, both short and long, and I'm willing to play those positions. We just need to see proper confirmation in order to play those positions. On some of the altcoins, we were coming into our support levels and not really seeing what we want to see in order to enter that trade. What's up, R Pink? What's up, Mark Dutch? Welcome in, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, smash the like button, guys. If you get anything out of this video, please smash the like button. Yes, I do. I do still have the noise activation, noise suppression activated. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Johnny, we will look at H bar. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate that. Okay, so yeah, we covered the local Bitcoin. We covered the total market cap. Let's go into the total 3 market cap here. Let's zoom out onto our daily time frame. And guys, we are seeing another attempted breakout of the value area high of the range, but we are flirting with falling back into this range. And if we fall back into this range, we could expect, just like Bitcoin, we have our upper range in here, and we could suspect that we might fall all the way down to grab the liquidity of the lows of the range, or if we're going to pull our Fibonacci from the lows of this local impulse to the highs of this local impulse. You can see here now it would take a bit of ranginess, or let's throw on that JC pocket. If we see a quick dump, then our 786 would be aligning with the upper pitchfork, the upper part of the lower band. Or if we range in here for a bit and see that slow grind down, then we could see that golden pocket aligning with that band. So looking at a potential bounce there, zooming back in now onto the 4-hour chart, that this move down, we could be looking for just some grindiness until we get down into that area. But if we close today's daily candle back down inside of this volume profile, we could expect a bigger move down. And yes, we did see the 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We saw a 5-wave impulse here after seeing that 3-wave corrective move, just like with Bitcoin. So overall, our mindset, our bias should be bullish, looking for a higher low to bounce, to continue pushing to the upside, at least coming to the midline of this pitchfork, because there's been a couple times now where we have front run the midline of the pitchfork. And so what we want to see, if we want to remain bullish, is we want to see a bounce at a higher low, and we want to actually work our way up to hit the midline of that pitchfork. Total market cap, though, if Bitcoin continues to bleed down, these altcoins will start to bleed more. And today's daily close is going to actually be really, really important here. If we close back inside this volume profile, and we expect to move at least down to local support, but we have to watch for a bounce from local support, a bearish backtest of that value area high. And if we reject that, guys, that not only will we come down and probably grab the liquidity of the range lows, but we could push down much, much further in a 5-wave impulse all the way to the bottom of the pitchfork where the point of control of the range is, and see significant dumpage on the altcoins. What I do see here is that we do have the bear dibs as well, and money flow topping out on Market Cipher B, money flow crossing into the red on NAMI, and this could give us a bigger prolonged correction to the downside, potentially in a much bigger, impulse, corrective move, impulse, all the way down, value area low, or even to take out the lows down here. Not saying that's the most likely scenario yet. Right now, the most likely scenario is to make a higher low and to continue up to new highs. Let's see. Did we break? Yeah. So a break of the all-time highs on the total 3 market cap into that pitchfork midline would really be what I would like to see. if we do make it up to this pitchfork midline and continue to see bearish divs on the chart, like this sort of rising wedge type structure where we have a rising wedge coming up in here, that would be really a sign for me, and another drive of bear div as well. I would absolutely be looking to take profits on some of my spot altcoins and look for a bigger correction. We did time this. If any of you guys were around on the channel when I first started it back in November and December, I was telling people that I was taking profits on my altcoins right when everyone else said that altcoin season was about to start in December. Everyone on YouTube, everyone in the world was saying altcoin season's about to start. And we were coming up into significant resistances with bear divs on the chart, with money flow leaving out of the asset. And I was telling people that I'm taking profit on my spot altcoins. I got so much hate for that, but we saw the technical signals on the chart. We were hitting up into some massive resistances. And sure enough, what did we see? We saw that multi-month correction to the downside. So I do see something very, very similar right now where a lot of people are saying, oh, altcoin season's about to pop off, including myself, by the way. I will say that I do still think altcoin season is about to pop off. But if we do come up and reject from this area with continued bearish divs and multiple drives of bear div, then I at least will be looking to at least take some profit to lock in some of that profit and look for now a bounce of that value area high. I can re-add, if we bounce to that value area high, we can re-add some of those altcoins and look, or at least with the trading, we can re-add those. Let's see here. Yeah, race car channel. It's time attack for my race car channel. Oh, Tiamat, you got a race car channel? Do you actually race like with NASCAR or something like that? Post your channel in the chat, man. Post your channel in the chat. We'll go check it out. Yeah, Mark Dutch, thank you for stepping in, man. Appreciate it. What's up, Diamond Palm? Welcome in. Cocaine, alcohol, weed. Yeah. All right, guys. So we can go into some of the altcoins. Let me cover the total 2 market cap real quick. Total 2 market cap is also seeing that liquidity grab of the all-time highs, and we are pushing down. Now, on the total 2, which this does include Ethereum, we did bounce from the bullish backtest of the value area high of the range. And this is exactly what we want to see on the bounce for a bigger continuation to the upside. We do want to see that break out of our macro range. This is our 2025 range. It actually goes back all the way to March of 2024. Broke out of the range, back tested that range, and we did see new highs. But seeing this swing failure pattern of the all-time highs could give us a significant correction, at the very least, down to your golden pocket, which if we're just going to pull that golden pocket here, that means we do have more downside, potentially more downside to come here on the altcoin market, and potentially for Ethereum and for some of these other altcoins to see a bigger retrace. You can see that our range, if we pull all the price action that is above the breakout of the value area high, that point of control is coming in right around the golden pocket. And even in a bullish scenario, we would see continued correction to come down to this area, bounce from this area, and then we would want to see continued impulsive price action breaking out to higher levels. So yeah, looking good there. I do want to see that bleed down a little bit. And once again, today's daily close is going to be important because if you look at this local range, pretty much all the price action above the value area high breakout, we are at the back testing the value area high of our local range. And so if we drop back inside of this, we can expect to move at least down to the POC, if not down to the value area low, where you can see we have our nice confluences with the golden pocket at the point of control and the 786 at the value area low. Okay, let's see. Weekend Warrior stuff. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, that's really awesome, dude. I think everyone should have a hobby and something that they do on the weekend to keep them sane. You know, the charts can be crazy at times and the markets can be crazy, can drive you crazy. So yeah. You've heard about a few people talking about bleeding till October. Well, it's interesting. As far as the 4-year cycle goes, we are projected to end the bull market around September to October, mid-September to October. So we are getting close to the end of the bull market as far as the 4-year cycle goes. And if the 4-year cycle is going to stay intact, I mean, to me, it somewhat makes sense. Now, the only thing that doesn't make sense is the macro fundamentals. If they're about to cut rates in September, then we know the government cutting rates, or not the government, the Federal Reserve cutting rates, should give a bullish bias to risk on assets where we can see more upside. And that could be our first break of the 4-year cycle. But showing our bull market trend that we've been in this bull market the entire time, rejecting from our macro resistance here and seeing us come towards the end of the bull market's 4-year cycle timeline with bear divs on weekly, daily, monthly timeframes. Yeah, I mean, if the 4-year cycle is going to play out, we had all the indications, we had all the bearish divs that this could be more of a macro top, or maybe one more local high coming in around that $126,000 area before seeing the real bear market start to kick in. What most people don't realize is usually the Fed cuts rates and there's a crash right after the Fed cuts rates. There's a crash, and usually the Fed is cutting rates and emergency cutting rates because something is breaking in markets, and markets hate uncertainty. So when that something does break, it does cause volatility and downside in markets. Okay, let's get back to the TA. Let's check ETH out, guys. ETH is bouncing from some local support levels, and we talked about this local support level yesterday, but I am still looking at the very least at a little bit more downside on Ethereum. You can see the bounce, our local golden pocket that we laid out yesterday, from the lows of our last range to our highs that we made. Golden pocket is coming in here, and we did see a little bit of a bounce, but not much of a bounce, and we do see those pretty bad bear divs on the chart. Money flows still continuing to drain out of the asset. Bear divs on the chart. Money flow crossing into the red on NAMI. And for me, I do expect continuation bleeding. Even at the very, very least, if we are going to see a 3-wave corrective move here, then our target is from the 1-to-1 to the 1.236. Well, you can see that I have highlighted down below us a little bit a local box of support. So it is going to be the daily level. It's an untapped daily level, are 1.236 of the ABC correction. So if this is going to be a simple ABC correction down to that 1.236, and then also our macro 382 Fibonacci target is there. And we do know that the 382 does bounce us in a very, very strong trend. So that 382 coming in right around the daily level, coming in right around our ABC correction lows. And then also, if we take a range and we look at the point of control of our range, it is going to be in that general area of our prior range. So we do have a lot of confluences of local support right around this daily level. Let's see. Did we have a naked daily point of control there? Let's check that out. No, no naked daily points of control down there, but a lot of local confluence of support. So we could expect some sort of bounce from this area. Now, I will say this on Ethereum, I am more bullish, expecting more upside. I've told you guys that many, many times when we were all the way down here at 3,400, looking for a bounce up to 4,500. The overall price action on Ethereum is impulsive, and we can expect that the impulse will continue to break out to make new all-time highs. Let me hide some of this stuff so that we can get a better look. So what I'm going to be looking at here on Ethereum, just get rid of that, is the bigger impulse still continuing. And we were looking for that impulsive price action, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and our wave 3 target was that 45.35 level. Now, we did wick up a little bit past that target. If we zoom out onto the weekly time frame, where did we really end that target? Is at the it's just a wick past that 45.34 level, but we could be ending our wave 3 impulse. And if we are ending our wave 3 impulse and we are about to see a wave 4 correction that could take, a month or so, then we want to see that grind down to that between the 0.5 and the 0.382. So let's zoom in on the 12-hour chart, and we will take a Fibonacci from the lows of our wave 3 to the highs of our wave 3. We're going to turn on those wave 4 targets, and you can see those wave 4 targets do have that very, very nice alignment. This is our if we're in finishing this corrective move here, or this impulse here, this is our wave 3 impulse. And in our wave 3, we could see that wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, finishing the third wave within our bigger daily or weekly impulse. After that finishes, we're going to be really expecting a bigger 3-wave corrective move down to either the 382 which you can see is coming in right around the top of the pitchfork band, or a bigger move down to the zero point 0.5, which is a very, very key support level. 3450 is probably the most important level for Ethereum to hold above if it wants to continue breaking out into new levels of price discovery, which in my opinion it will. I do think Ethereum is going to go to new all-time highs. I think Ethereum could make it up to that $7,000 area. So looking at this zero point 0.5, if we do hit it in the next month or so, I will be looking for potential swing long opportunities to push up all the way up to 6,900, even higher, $9,000. So we could see bigger pushes up on Ethereum. But in the meantime, in this next month, we could see a bit of a corrective grind down overall, seeing somewhat of a correction happen just like in this area. So yeah, I am looking at that for Ethereum. There's a potential that the third wave of our more macro impulse has ended. Let me just get rid of these. Of this third wave could be over. We could be about to see a bigger dump. And generally, when your wave 4 correction on your bigger impulse. So actually, let me make this a little bit more professional looking. If we are looking at this as our bigger correction, our bigger impulse, excuse me, the third wave ends. We see that fourth wave correct down, and then a fifth wave come up here. In this fourth wave, you generally retrace to the lows of your internal fourth wave. So around the lows of your internal fourth wave. So if we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here, these are your internal wave 4s of your big wave 3. And generally your larger macro wave 4, your primary wave 4, will generally retrace to the lows of your internal wave 4. So that $3,500 target is really, really key. And that could be one of the best potential swing long opportunities that's remaining in this bull market. And I would really like to, I would like to take that opportunity to not only buy maybe some spot, and I know buying spot this high is risky, but I would be selling that spot once we break all time highs and potentially long the crap out of this with a swing long. Okay, J Rod, G Rod, thank you, man. I appreciate that. What's up, B team? Yes, seasonal slowdown during October. Yeah, and we are getting to that slowdown as well. Yep. Wix wife fine 89. Welcome in, man. Dozzy, welcome in. Alex, welcome in. Did anyone buy the dip on Circle stock? Yes, I did buy some Circle. Let's I did actually buy some Circle. I think I bought it. Let's see here. Go in on the 4 hour. I'm actually down, I think, on my Circle. I think I bought it at 156 or something like that. Not 170. See, so that was our bounce from our local golden pocket there. We made a lower high here, and now we are continuing down. It looks like an impulsive price action to the downside. Wave 1, wave 2. We could be in a wave 3 here. Let's actually check this out. I plan to buy more of this, though, because this does look pretty good overall. Wow, yeah. I mean, our wave 3 could bring us all the way down to 100K, or 106, $107, and then see a bounce and then one more low coming in, probably taking out these lows here, and then continued rallying. But I think I bought around $150. Yeah, it was right around this low rate here. So I'm down on my, or about break even on it. But I plan to hold this for a long time. This is more of a spot buy to hold for longer term. And I'm comfortable holding it and even buying some more. Locally on the 4 hours, we are printing those bull divs. Money flows looking like it wants to bottom out here. Okay, let's get back to let's go into Solana now. Now, guys, Solana is losing some very, very key levels of support. We wanted to maintain above that 189K value area high. Now, if we look at the Bybit chart, though, the value area high of our macro range, let's let me get rid of this one for a second. And we will look at the value area high of our macro range. This is Binance. Hold on. We got to go to Bybit. on Bybit, the value area high of our macro range is at about 183, and that's about where we're bouncing right now. So it's a little bit confusing because the two biggest exchanges that I follow for volume levels is Bybit, Coinbase, which the value area high is coming in around 189 to $190, and then Bybit is the second one. The value area high is a bit lower here, and that's about 184 to 183, where we're attempting to bounce right now or attempting to hold. So, but what we want to see, if we do see Solana, first off, we already had one failed auction of a breakout of this value area high. We saw that big three-wave corrective move coming back into it. We had another attempt to break out of the volume profile, to break into higher fair value for Solana. We failed. We had a swing failure pattern of those highs, and we're failing. And if we dump back in this range again, that I do expect that this is going to be a bigger flat correction where we could come all the way back down to take out the lows that we had a couple weeks ago at 156, potentially even coming down to our 145K, not $145 point of control of the range. If we look at our Fibonacci pull from the lows to the highs, you can see that our golden pocket is going to be coming in right around those lows. Our more macro golden pocket's going to be coming in right around those lows. And what else is going to be down there? So this is very, very important for Solana because this white line here is the channel midline of our same Fibonacci channel. Let's zoom out here on the 3-day time frame. And we have, very similar to Bitcoin, the start of the bull market. We have our main channel pulled from the start of the bull market, hit up into the 1.618, saw a correction, and we've been following this overall macro trend of the bull market for Solana. And the midline of that trend, which you can see has sustained as support locally throughout this bull trend, the midline is going to be coming in right around the lows into our more macro golden pocket, right at that area. So we could see a drop back down to grab the liquidity of our lows from a couple weeks ago. Let's make sure that's an SFP. Into that macro channel midline, possibly even seeing some wickage past it, like we saw some wickage past it here to come into the value area low. Well, we could see some wickage past it to come into that point of control, and then a reclaim, and then a push up. And then if we look at that 786, let's pull this up and let's put on the 786 is going to be right around that point of control. Yeah, Ludong, I am bullish on Circle overall, but we are in bearish price action now, and we were seeing those higher time frame bear divs. For me, the company does have good fundamentals, and I do think, especially if the crypto market continues to evolve and continues to get adoption, I do think it's a good stock to hold. Very similar to Coinbase. I bought Coinbase at $50 when the Wells notice came out from the SEC, and look at like a year or 2 years later, it's up to $350, $300. So I do think these big dips on good companies like this, developing crypto companies, are good to actually buy in. And yeah, you got to be comfortable holding underwater a little bit or for some time, but that is the spot market. And, it's a slower market. You don't really have the risk of getting liquidated or stopped out. So, you just be comfortable wherever you're comfortable buying on support. You just got to be comfortable holding it underwater for a little bit. Okay, let's see. Quiles, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. And Quas, you got some in the low 140s. Awesome, man. That's really good. Daily, we have a small gap still. Small. Are you talking about on Circle or on Bitcoin, Tiamat? Because yes, that kind of flat on Circle looks like an accumulate. Oh, let's go back to Circle real quick. I see you guys are interested in Circle. Yes, the daily gap looks like we could honestly we're inside of it now, so I do think we'll probably come fill it. We probably got a little bit lower to come fill that gap. Let's do a Fibonacci pull here. All right, now here's the thing, guys. We're breaking our local 786 of this last impulse up. You can see pretty clearly here. Nice 5-wave impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4 with the 5, extended 5. And now we're seeing a much bigger potential correction or impulse to the downside. Let's check this out. Let's go to our targets. So yeah, we are in that target zone and actually filling that gap. If this is going to be a bigger 3-wave correction, Filling that gap into your 1.236 would be a bullish scenario where you just fill that gap, hit into $132, and then start to push back up. That would actually be pretty nice to see, and then see like continued recovery here. But we do have to watch. Let's see how our volume looks here. Ooh. Actually, it doesn't look too bad as far as because this wave three dump to the downside or potential wave three volume is actually not big. So, and at the end of this corrective move, you can see here a very nice three wave corrective move up, hitting into your local golden pocket 786 area. Yeah, golden pocket area. So you made your lower high, ended the correction with a spike in volume, which is exactly what you want to see. And now we would have wanted to see at least, at the very least, a break of these lows, which we have now done. So it is bearish price action, bearish market structure here. But in a more macro bullish scenario, we could just fill that gap and then just push right back up. Honestly, I think you could even look at, I mean, there's not a lot to look at here because this is a relatively new coin, stock, excuse me. But we are below the value area low of this upper range and even tried to break back inside of the range, rejected the point of control, which is considered fair value. So fair value is now considered overpriced, and we see buyers or people, market participants selling at fair value. So they are expecting lower. Now we've come lower. We have a very high probability of filling this gap at the very least. And then if we want to see a bounce from there, we would want to see it kick in pretty quick and some volume kick in on that bounce. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Let's go on to Sui. Now, oh wait, I didn't finish Solana. So Solana breaking back inside this volume profile is very, very bearish for me. Seeing another attempted breakout and breaking back inside that volume profile is very bearish for me. And it's a bit confusing because the value area high on Coinbase is 189 or 190 ish, but on Bybit it's about what was that 183.3, and we are still above the value area high on Bybit. But if we start to close daily candles underneath, we could see that move all the way down to 155, or potentially even in a very bearish scenario down to $145, $146. I just don't want to see that. And as far as rejecting this general golden pocket area. Now, this is our log golden pocket. And the reason we're using log scale is because when you see a drop that's more than a 30% drop to the downside, and this drop to the downside from the all-time highs down to that $96 area was almost a 68% drop to the downside. So when you're pulling that Fibonacci from the highs, geez, look at that wick. Oh, wait, that's not a wick. I'm sorry, to the lows, and your normal golden pocket's going to be at that $219 area. But if you turn on based off log scale, because we are on the log chart and that was more than 30%, I mean, you can see that's where your golden pocket is, and this is where we're generally finding that rejective area. Let's check our hourly chart to see how this looks. Yeah, money flow crossing into the red here. No bull divs. Very slight bull divs locally on NAMI here, and we could see a little bit of a bounce here, but honestly, everything looks like it has more downside. 4-hour chart, bear divs and money flow now starting to drain out on NAMI. Money flow just crossing into the red. This just looks bad to me, guys. And for me, I've told you guys this. I follow Coinbase charts because Coinbase does seem to be the most respected. Like you can see yesterday, we attempted to bounce from the value area high, made a lower high, and now we're breaking back inside the volume profile. So for me, it's a really bad sign. And I would consider that if we close this week down below 190K or 189K, we are going to see more downside. And just like many of the altcoins, we are having this nice, more macro support setup of swing failure patterns into the golden pockets of the entire impulse. We have an impulse here. After that impulse, you can expect a corrective move. And you know what? We could still be in the wave a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you'd see that bigger three-way bounce, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down to that area. And we would really want to see that hold at that 174 if we're going to remain more macro bullish. Now, your bigger correction could come down to the 786. That's a very common target for altcoins, actually. And what is aligning with that 786 at about $166? You can see we do have some very key anchored VWAPs there. If we zoom out onto the daily time frame, that is our anchored VWAP from the all-time high that is coming in there. And just like with Bitcoin, if we want to see continued bullish momentum on the Solana price action, then seeing holding above the volume weighted average price of our prior all-time high would be the best scenario. I really don't want to lose that area of support. If we do, we could see that bigger flush not only down to 156, but maybe even down to 145. Okay, let's get rid of some of this locally. And I just want to look at this trend here. So we're in sort of a ascending channel here on the daily time frame on Solana. And the the very bearish part that we could be looking at, guys, is a bigger complex correction where you come up into that golden pocket area, you roll over it, and you come all the way back down. And I wouldn't say this is bear market uh, stuff, but we do have the fair value for Solana really is between like 300 and $85. And so if we look at this bigger range, let's actually pull this bigger range here. If what the heck? The value area low of that bigger range is going to be coming down still right around that area. And let's see where our corrective target would be for that. Man, yeah, we probably wouldn't want to come down that far, but let's do this. That's not going to work. Worst case scenario, we could come all the way back down to $67, and you would be grabbing that low, the liquidity of that low into $67. I'm definitely not going there yet, guys. We are still more likely to be bullish, but the failed breakout of this macro value area high is concerning. And if we look at our bigger range, let's hide this range from March. If we look at our bigger range here, rejecting value area high, what can you expect? Maybe a move all the way down to the point of control. Sui is coming up to that local support level that we laid out in yesterday's live stream. But someone asked me about this in the Telegram group, and I have not longed this yet, and I do not see confirmation to long this yet. I am still looking for a potential bounce from this area. I mean, it is the bullish retest of that channel. It is our golden pocket. It is our value area low of our range. And we do have some liquidity that's right down below. So we might be seeing one more little push down to grab that liquidity and then kind of see a little bit of a push up here. So I am looking for that potential bull divs to come in here as we're seeing that. Now we are seeing some 1 hour confirmed bull divs on NAMI and about to confirm on Market Cipher B. But if you only see one drive of bull divs and money flow is going against those bull divs, for me, it's not enough. It's not enough to take it. So I want to see that money flow at least bottomed out. And if we zoom in on lower time frames, you can see that our money flow is still draining out of the asset on Market Cipher B. Now on NAMI, it is seeing some local bull divs here, and money flow is about to cross over into the green. But because we've already attempted to bounce from this golden pocket, and we're seeing a little bit of failed bounce and continuation back down here, I don't want to come grab that liquidity. Just see a little bit of a deviation below that value, below the golden pocket, grab that liquidity. And then if we even make local and more regional bull divs, like on the 15-minute chart, I will look for a long opportunity. And in that scenario, I will be longing the SFP, but I would look to come up to this area for a take profit because we could just be forming a more sideways range for the weekend or for the next week or so in this general area. And hopefully that would be it for Solana. Sui, excuse me. On the daily time frame, we do have to be aware of this, guys. And we talked about this last week in the streams, but we did come up to our macro value area high of our range that goes all the way back to November of 2024. We rejected the value area high, and we formed bearish market structure on the daily time frame. So let me hide this range for a second. And one of the things that we saw is a break in market structure bearishly on the daily time frame. So this is your market structure, your daily low. We broke it bearishly, and because we broke market structure bearishly, we could look for a lower high to come in, and if we reject from that lower high, we could expect a real breakdown back underneath the point of control of the range, potentially all the way back down to the value area low of the range. Now, if you look at this left shoulder, head, right shoulder, or a distribution pattern in here, because we broke that market structure bearishly, in a bearish scenario, there is a possibility that this structure, this range, does break to the downside in impulsive price action, seeing that bit of a distribution coming all the way back down to our much lower targets down here. You can see that we do have a fresh daily level that's right around this area as well. You know, we have our daily, we have our 786. We have a lot of confluence of support in this general area. And actually, I would pull this even to come up to there. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna see if we break back inside of this channel, this corrective channel that we're seeing, then we might suspect that we are going to see a bigger breakdown. The SFP, but before the bigger breakdown, we will see bounces along the way. So in the very, very bullish scenario, we're going to continue this range by just grabbing the liquidity into the VWAP, the anchored VWAP, because we actually didn't touch the anchored VWAP on this low here. We did touch our local, I think it was a liquidity grab of our range, our dead cat bounce lows. And I believe there was a local golden pocket there, or there was something else there. We bounced, but now that anchored VWAP, if we come down, grab the liquidity into that anchored VWAP in a bullish case scenario, we're just going to range here. We're going to form a bigger range here, and then overall see that continuation to the upside, which is more likely, in my opinion, with Bitcoin dominance breaking down and altcoins starting to really rally here. Also, we did see that impulse here, corrective move here, so we could be seeing a bigger a 1-2, 1-2, and then the big third wave here pushing up. That's honestly what I want to see, but it doesn't matter what you want to see. It matters. You got to go by the data on the market, and we are seeing bearish divs, trigger wave, bearish trigger wave, money flow topping out, hidden bear div printed on that lower high on the daily time frame, and hidden bear div is a continuation pattern. So does that mean that this bearish momentum on the daily time frame continues? Lower low, lower high. Are we expecting a lower low to come in? Let me check this 15-minute chart. So I'm actually going to set an alert on this swing failure pattern, because if we do get the confirmed swing failure pattern here and reclaim, I'm going to wait for the reclaim of the golden pocket. And if we SFP this and reclaim the golden pocket, then I will look for a scalp long opportunity. Yeah, Ludong, I think, was it you that asked me this morning in the Telegram? Someone asked me this morning, we were coming up into our golden pocket. Are you going to attempt the long? And I said, no, I'm not. I'm sorry, guys, because I do not see confirmation. So I'm going to be patient and at least wait for some more confirmation to develop. The part of the game of trading is about patience. Yes, we mapped out these levels of support. Very similar ICP, guys. ICP is coming into that swing failure pattern. We had the confirmed swing failure pattern of into the naked weekly point of control that we have and into our golden pocket. Now, I will say this, I did attempt along on ICP because we did reclaim after I waited for a little bit after we reclaimed it. I did attempt a long, and I am still long on this. I'm willing to get stopped out on this. And it does look like, as far as money flow goes and as far as the lack of bullish confirmation, it looks like I might get stopped out. But you can see here, we didn't get stopped out yet. You know, my stop is below the low. And if we can hold this, I'm just expecting to move up to that anchored VWAP, really. Or not anchored VWAP, regular VWAP. Because if we zoom out to the 4-hour chart, you can see that's where the point of control of the range is. And because we lost the point of control of this range, it's now going to be acting as resistance. And you can see we lost it with volume to the downside. So local bounce, TP at the point of control VWAP completely, and I might even flip short there to look for a continuation down. Okay, CRV. We'll look at CRV. Humbletti, CRV honestly looks really bad. I hate to say it. It looks really bad. We talked about this yesterday, but this is our range, and you can see we attempted to hold the value area low of the range, breaking it down with volume today, and really coming back down below our macro value area high. Not quite yet, but it looks like we're going to close this daily candle at or below the macro value area high. And if that's the case, very similar to what we just talked about on SUI, we did have that daily. Let's just hide this range for a second. We had our break in market structure bearishly on the daily time frame. So this was your daily low, broke market structure bearishly. After breaking market structure bearishly on the daily time frame, you could look for a lower high to come in before creating another lower low and continuing the bearish market structure. Now, because of the way this pattern is forming, it's a sort of a failed auction on the daily time frame above the breakout of your value area high of your much larger accumulation range. Now, if you see this tap one, tap two, tap three, or left shoulder head, right shoulder, and it starts to break down, if we break back inside this volume profile, look at here. There is no structure within this move up. It was a straight up move. So I expect a quick flush down, a very, very quick flush down, potentially seeing distribution play out, seeing that distribution play out. So if we take our Fibonacci from the lows, let's actually go here to the highs. And let me check something real quick here. Is that more than 100%? Yeah, so it's more than 100%. So we're going to take this fib, we're going to put it on log scale. It's okay, it is on log scale. There we go. And you can see that that golden pocket's going to be coming in. Really, I would actually be looking even past that golden pocket area. I would be looking, let's pull this range first. Yeah, honestly, guys, I would be looking to come at least down to that daily target down there, filling in all this imbalance within this market, coming down to the daily level, potentially even your 786 down here, with some bounces along the way, of course. We could look at our naked weekly points of controls. Yeah, no naked weeklies in here. Let's look at our naked dailies. Okay, we should see at least some sort of bounce here at this 79.3 area, but I would expect it's gonna be a breakdown, a back test of that value area high, a bearish back test, and then continued breakdown here. I hate to say it, but it does look like CRV is kind of bearish here, guys. Daily time frame, we did confirm those wonky bear divs, higher highs here, lower highs kind of here, but if you can see them very clearly here on NAMI, and then the money flow draining out of the asset as this range is forming. If you want to be hyper bullish, and we're going to see a fake out, so there is a possibility. Let's cover both the bullish and the bearish scenario. Now, in a bullish scenario, we are seeing a bit of a sort of bull flag form. Let's just say that you could be pulling that channel here. You can see we do have our corrective channel, and in a bullish scenario, we're going to come down, take out the lows of this range here, this local range right here, take out the lows, potentially see a little bit more back into the bottom of the channel, bounce, and then see that real breakout here. So if we pull our Fibonacci from the lows to the highs and we look at our 382, because that 382 is going to be strong, it's going to be your strong trend support. And let's turn the fib levels on because that's more than 100% move. So we did actually not touch that 382 last time. Okay, this is actually really nice. So this is the bullish case scenario for CRV. We front ran that macro 382 because this is more than 100% move up. You want to use your log scale. And in a bullish case scenario, in a bull flag type scenario or a fake out of this head and shoulders breakdown, we know that the market makers like to play fake outs on these retail patterns. So if you're looking at this as a head and shoulders or a distribution that's about to break down, the bullish scenario of that is just coming down, grabbing the liquidity of your range lows into that macro 382, which the 382 acts as strong support in a strong trend. Well, this has been a very strong trend here. And in the bullish case scenario, we grab that liquidity into that 83.5, let's say 83.5 area of support, we reclaim these lows, and then we really not only make a run for the top of the channel, but a break out of the channel and see continuation pushing up here, potentially up to our much higher targets. I'm not going to be taking any profits based off of this trend, but let's put it right on that 382. Yeah, breaking up above, really, coming up to some much higher levels on the chart. Yeah, it's tough here, guys, because on the daily time frame, on the three-day time frame, we could be looking at a wave one, a wave two, wave three. Now, your wave four retrace too deep. Actually, that's not going to work there because if we pull this, yeah, we hit the golden pocket. So never mind on that count. In that case, we could be looking at a multiple 1 2, 1 2, 1 2, and then a push up. So even coming down in a very, very more macro scenario, let's say the bull market, the actual altcoin season is going to really kick off. Even if we retrace down to 66 cents or even to the daily at 61 cents, you could be looking at a multiple 1 2 here. So you have your bigger 1 2, you have a big internal wave 1 and internal wave 2, and then you blast up in that wave 3. Very similar to what we're kind of looking at on SUI on the daily time frame. You have to keep both scenarios in mind as a trader. And then we map out both scenarios. We play whichever scenario comes. So we look at our confirmations. Like right now, we're looking at our confirmation to look for a local scalp long from this area. That's actually on SUI and even on CRV. I'm actually gonna set an alert here. The front run of this earlier today is not a good sign, guys. Front running this low and attempting to see a little bit of bounce, that means generally you have a higher probability of breaking down through it. Okay, let me check the chat here. I posted in the Telegram a SpaceX on Chainlink. Oh, an X space on Chainlink. Okay, Fishy, Zach, and Jay did a great job of the breakdown that's currently happening. Okay, cool. I'll have to check that out, T Matt. Thank you for that. And I appreciate you always posting informational material in there, man. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a mod. When do I see a bounce for CRV? Well, we kind of just discussed that. So we could swing fail into this 83.5. And if we do reclaim, I would look for a long and potentially a swing long. But honestly, as far as our daily time frame goes, it doesn't look too good here. And we might be in that distribution dropping all the way to 66 or 61 cents. You notice there was an all-time high, and then a few weeks later, we took out the highs and then corrected down for the next few months. Are you talking about on Bitcoin, Alex? Let's check out Bitcoin here. So I think what you're talking about was, let's see, a few weeks later. So in this area, are you talking about, or are you talking about in this area here? Or is it possible to take out the 98 swing low liquidity? Yes, it is absolutely possible to take out those 98.2K lows, but we play level to level as traders. And here's the thing, Alex, if we do drop back down below 108K, that's your macro value area high for the entire year of 2025. So if we look at 2025's range, that is this range here. We're breaking out of that range and we're attempting to maintain and form fair value above that range and to new levels of price discovery, right? So as long as we're above this 108K high, we do have a higher probability to continue up to new levels of price discovery. But if you do see that breakout, a range form, a bit of a distribution up here. So what we even could be looking at, let me get onto a cleaner chart here. And let me hide this channel for a second. What we could be looking at here, let's pull that volume profile here. Let's go back to this. Does that change it? No. Okay, so we had our value area high. We broke out of the value area high. We're attempting to find new levels of price discovery. But if we form a distribution, now remember, we broke market structure bearishly here on the daily time frame by taking out our daily lows. We broke market structure bearishly. Okay. Then you could see in a scenario, you could see a flat correction where you come up, you take out the highs of your wave A, because we had a 3-wave corrective move down here in a wave B, right? We had our 3-wave corrective move in a wave A, or you'd have to call that a W, and then you have your flat and your X, and then you could see come down in a Y, take out these lows. That would continue this range here. But if you start to break this range down, we could even look for a distribution pattern in here. So you have your tap 1, your tap 2, and if you come down, bounce from your local area of support, and then come up for a lower high, tap 3, and if this breaks down back inside this volume profile, it is going to be a failed auction breakout on like a weekly time frame or a daily time frame of this 2025 fair value. And that means we could literally come all the way back down to fill the fair value of this all the way back down to 86K. Even like your first target would be that 97K area, 96.5, the point of control of the range. So absolutely, there is a possibility to come take out these 98K lows. It's going to really depend on what happens here. So, and we can also even look for one more high to be put in, guys, as a Model 1 distribution. So in a Model 1 distribution, you have your initial breakdown, you have your tap 2, which is always higher than your tap 1. Then you get a third higher high, creating that sort of wedge type pattern, right? That exhaustive type pattern. Your tap 3 in a Model 1 distribution, which I do think is more likely than a Model 2 where you make a lower high and like a head and shoulders in here. I do think it's likely we come up to 126,000. But then if you start to see that start to break down here, it could be a Model 1 distribution. You break down below 108K, you could see a much bigger distribution down here. And I would be looking to come take out those lows. And potentially, I don't want to say in the bull market, but a multi-month correction to the downside. So, and what is concerning for that is our bear divs that we're seeing. You know, as this is developing here, we're seeing bear divs on the weekly, on the daily. We're seeing money flow. This is the biggest part. Since our initial highs, our initial all-time highs back in May, money flow has been draining out of the asset as we are getting higher and higher in this wedgie type pattern, right? This is a bigger wedge you could be looking at, bigger wedgie type pattern. And if we come up, make one more high in that wedge, start to break this pattern down, it could flush and start to wipe all of this liquidity very, very quickly. Let's go to our 3-day chart. Yeah, I mean, you know, bear divs from, we already have regional bear divs on the week, on the 3-day chart. So higher highs here, lower highs here. But now even locally, higher highs here. If this rolls over, we're going to create lower highs here. So we'd have regional and local bear divs. Now, money flow is still coming to the upside. And, well, on NAMI, it's not. It's starting to come down already, which that could give us an indication that this is about to roll over here. But guys, being an objective, I'm not trying to be the bearish guy here. I do not care if it's bearish or bullish. I just trade, you know, and mostly trade. I do have some spot, of course. But we cannot, as traders, as technical traders, we cannot ignore these bearish signals that are printing, these bearish warning signals that are printing on high time frames. And no matter what you say, these signals always do play out eventually. If we come back and we look at our 2021 bull market here, we did have those higher highs in the price action. We had lower highs on the momentum waves, and money flow was draining out, and it created a bear market. Now, if we look here on the weekly time frame, we have a triple drive of it from our 74 2024 all-time highs, 74K highs, to our 108K highs, up to our 123K highs. We are continuing to develop these bear divs on the chart on the weekly time frame. Now, between our last two highs of 112 to 123, we're now potentially seeing bearish divs on the money flow. Money flow on the weekly time frame is still coming up. Now, as long as this money flow is still coming up, we should expect higher targets. And that's why I'm saying we could probably expect one more high up into 126K, maybe even 129K. But we are getting close. And once this money flow on the weekly starts to top out here, guys, I am going to get very, very concerned of a much larger correction coming in. Hidden bear div printed on the weekly. We did make a new high, but then we printed bear divs and money flows draining out. And looking on NAMI here, now this is where NAMI really comes into play. Let's Bring this full screen. Bear divs on money flow here on Nami. And it is rolling over on the weekly already on Nami. So that is concerning to me. If you are an objective trader, that should be concerning to you that we are closer to the end than the beginning. I'm not saying that the bear market is here. Let me be very clear on that. I actually think one more all-time high is probable. What's your view on decentralized perpetuals? Uh, wait, decentralized. Humbletti, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like trade, like decentral lidded perps. Are you talking about just trading perpetual markets, or because I think trading like if you're talking about not on exchanges, but on like like Antarctic Exchange, like Jason has, where it's a decentralized exchange, or is that what you're talking about, or not quite sure what you're talking about there? Okay, guys. Bitcoin is coming up. I'm gonna set an alert on this daily. We are going into the weekend now, and I do expect slow continuation in a bleed at least to this level. And then we'll see how this works. We could get a weekend relief rally bounce, but guys, on weekends, when you see bounces on weekends, just be aware of that. We're probably going to put in a weekend low. That means we're probably going to bounce a little bit here, and then come next week, you can expect to come take out that weekend low. Another low that we had on the weekend was our 112K low here down here. That was a Saturday low, a weekend low. And that is one of the reasons why I am still suspecting that we might come down to the bottom of the pitchfork to take out that low, hitting into your anchor view up, hitting into the bottom of the pitchfork, seeing a bigger flat correction in here. In this range, we took out the highs of the range, we took out the liquidity of the highs, and now we have some liquidity down here near the lows. Yeah, I Caleb, if the 4-year cycle is still intact, then yes, it is coming to an end near soon. And the best case scenario for me though would be coming up into hitting the top of this pitchfork band again, at least at 126K, or potentially even coming up to where was it? Let's see here. Let me turn on. Yeah, this is our macro pitchfork. Very, very highly respected throughout the entire bull market. So we are at a sort of topping point. If we do lose this midline, which we are starting to lose now, and around this midline could be the top, but I would like to see one more high come in. Yeah, I mean, guys, we are hitting into some resistances here. This is our more macro time frame pitchforks, and you know, once again, coming back down into this general area, taking out that low, and continuing this range in here is not even all that bearish. But a drop from 124K all the way down to 111K, it's a pretty big drop. It would scare a lot of people. It would get a lot of people very bearish that the bear market is here. See a 10% drop on Bitcoin and only to come up one more time to make new all-time highs. That right there, along with the pitchfork or along with the fib channel, I mean, look at that, right on same exact resistance there. On-chain perps. Okay, wait. Hyperliquid, for example. Well, honestly, I don't know too much about it, Humble Eddie, so I couldn't give you a educated answer on that. Yes, Alex, very, very good point, man. Every trader is saying, I want to see one more all-time high. If we go back to 2021, that's exactly what happened in 2021. Actually, every trader in the world was calling for 98K. Plan B was calling for 120K by November. We were in, I believe it was, oh God, when was it? I can't remember exactly, but everyone was calling for 100K, 120K. and one more high, and it just didn't happen. And yes, there is a possibility. I mean, once again, guys, I will just lay out to you that we are hitting significant resistance here, being the top of the fib channel. And if we do reject from this fib channel and start to fall back down, absolutely we could see a bigger, the bull market even ending. That's not the highest probability yet, though. Let's go to our wave 5 targets. And then I just want to come in here and we want to turn on our 1.382. Let's do that. So flat correction, in a flat correction, you come up to that 1.382. In a bigger bearish scenario, let me hide this range. And let's turn off this channel. In a bigger flat correction, you could see something like a big dump here. You come up in your B wave up to that 1.382. You reject from that 1.382, and then you come all the way back down to take out the lows of bigger, um, your initial push down. And, that is a bearish scenario where we could come down, take out those lows into our pitchfork band. If you reject this midline, you're really overall expecting a big move down to the lower band. And that could be, and then of course, guys, we did finish the 5-wave impulse. And after finishing a 5-wave impulse to the upside, you're expecting some sort of corrective move. This was a multi-year impulse to the upside. So your corrective move is not just going to last, generally, it's just not going to last 3 or 4 months like this. You're going to see a bigger, like year-long corrective move, and then you could continue the bull market pushing up. And I just have to highlight that is still a scenario that we should be watching on the charts. I mean, it is a bearish scenario, but we are hitting and rejecting from that 1.382. Hitting in 1.382, a wick past it to grab liquidity, and now we're dropping back down below the channel midline, pitchfork midline. Yeah, the one thing, guys, I truly don't think we're going to see an alt season like we saw in 2021 or even 2017. Total market caps are pretty much at all-time highs. The total 3 market cap is pretty much at all-time highs, but the alts are still way far down to where they were. There's just so much more alts and so much more dilution in the market for people to jump into, and a lot of people don't like to buy into these prior cycle coins, whatever you want to call them, dinosaur coins or whatever. And I just don't think we're going to see, pushes up to, some people think Solana's going to go to $1,000, $2,000 and stuff like that. I think Solana could make it up to 600 easy, but I just don't think we're going to see that major, 10x, 20x on altcoins like a lot of people think that's going to happen in the crypto market. This market is maturing, and a lot of these coins are starting to get ETFs. The ones that have real price action, we've seen make new all-time highs. Ethereum pretty much has made a new all-time high. Solana has made new all-time highs. XRP has made new all-time highs. Sui has made new all-time highs. BNB, another really good one, has made new all-time highs. We've seen the good ones make new all-time highs. XRP is another one, new all-time highs, And so for the good ones, we have seen that run of multi-hundreds of percent already. 6, 7x's to the upside, 8x's to the upside. But on these crappy coins that don't really have use cases or that are dead projects, I hate to say this, but Polkadot is a prime example of that. We're at pretty much bear market lows on Polkadot. And Bitcoin's at new all-time highs, and we're in bear market lows. I do have to say this is starting to look like accumulation in here, like a exhaustion of sellers. We're starting to form accumulation, and we could see expansion up. But I don't think we're going to see expansion to new all-time highs. I think we might see a move up to that lower high support before continuing to range in this overall area here. Yeah, I hate to say it, but it does not look too good for Polkadot. Yeah, up near that value area high, we could push all the way up to there. We're at the value area low, and then of course our smaller daily range here. This is our like accumulation range that we're looking at. We rejected the value area high of the range. Rejected value area high into our lower pitchfork band. And actually, we had this marked out as a resistance. If you guys look here, I actually gave the long position from the SFP of the lows. I gave the long position down here at the SFP of the lows. Um, and then we pushed up quite aggressively here. But once we rejected from this purple box, we marked out our lower high purple box, and we're rejecting from that area. So rejected this box, rejected this box. We're inside our volume profile on the daily time frame. This is like our accumulation that's happening on the daily time frame, and rejecting that value area high, and we're losing the point of control. So what can we expect? Maybe a move all the way down to value area low. We have the bottom of the pitchfork around value area low. We have a liquidity grab into a weekly level at the value area low. For me, though, if we do get down here, I will be buying spot just to even take up to the highs of the range, or to take up to break your, what is that, $5.40 highs. So actually, I want to set an alert here. Because that's going to be the value area low of your range. That's going to be your weekly level and a liquidity grab of the last lows. For me, that's at least a good attempt and a potential swing long opportunity to bring up to that $5 area. We do have semi-equal highs up here. Actually, we did take liquidity, but that's the highs of the range right up there. The value area high of the range is a little bit different. Okay, yeah, please hit the likes, guys, if you got anything out of this. We'll check Cal real quick. COWUSD. I believe we did it on Coinbase. Yeah. All right. B, thank you, man. Appreciate you, dude. Wait, 111K is sitting around the 0.5 fib from the local low to the high. No, I think that's the lows. We'll go back to Cow in just a second, but if we're looking at the 111 is the lows of our impulse. So we had this very clear 5-wave impulse to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is the lows of the impulse. But if you're talking about our bigger corrective move on the daily time frame from our last big daily lows at 98.2 to our highs, let's check. Yeah, you're right. It is right around that area. And that is a good more confluence down there, because that's the equilibrium of this push up. Okay, COW. All right, so it looks like on COW, on Cal, we did hit into the highs of the upper band of the pitchfork. We rejected down to the lower band of the pitchfork, made another move up, but really to test the pitchfork band again, but we grabbed liquidity, and now we're dumping here. So dumping back into your volume profile. This is your volume profile of your accumulation range. This is like your little accumulation seller's exhaustion here. We are bouncing from a monthly level, or attempting to bounce from a monthly level and a naked daily point of control that we had down here. But it doesn't, let's see, and that's probably your golden pocket area as well. And that's going to be on log scale, because I already can tell you that's more than 100% move. All right, that's really bad. So let's turn on our 786 as well. I would say we've got more droppage on this thing. And daily bear divs confirmed higher highs, lower highs, bear divs here, money flow topping out and starting to come out here. The biggest thing is we're back inside the value area. We're back inside the volume profile. So once again, attempted breakout, fall back inside, come down, bounce from a major support level. SFP of the highs, attempted breakout, fall back inside. We could probably expect to come down to take out these lows. Let's see here. If we mark out those lows, oh man. And let's pull our Fibonacci here. Yeah, you know what? I would say we might even drop back down to this golden pocket point of control area, because if you attempt to break out of a volume profile and you have a failed auction and you break back in, you have a high probability to flush down to the point of control. gosh, by the time we get down there, because we might see bounces along the way, bounces, come down here, chop around, form that range that we often form within these bands. And as you break down to this point of control area, it could be near the bottom of the pitchfork by the time we get down there. And it's near your macro um, golden pocket pull. So that like 31 to like 30 cent area could be a really nice spot buy because this is accumulation. We did break. We have a, oh, that's not a higher high, huh? Let's see. Okay. We did not SFP these highs on the first push up here, but we did SFP both the local high and this more regional high on this push up. That is actually bad. A double liquidity grab. The way we're seeing that, let's check our weekly chart or our higher time frame charts. And if we're seeing macro bear divs here, this could get pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, we are seeing not only regional 3-day bear divs. So let me get rid of some of this stuff. I'm sorry, guys. I'll clean this chart up. All right, so you can see here on the 3-day chart, we have now higher highs in the price action here, lower highs in the momentum waves, right? But even locally on the 3-day chart, higher highs here, lower highs here confirmed. So we have regional 3-day bear divs and local 3-day bear divs. Money flow is attempting to cross into the green, but if we see that fake out like we often do on Market Cipher B and we start to dip into the red again, there's actually a high probability we could come take out these lows down here into the value area low. Okay, weekly, we don't have enough information, but we did print a hidden bear div on the weekly chart on this lower high here. Yeah, money flow draining out, about to cross into the red here. It is in the red on NAMI. No bull divs on Market Cipher B. Now NAMI is printing some potential local bull divs, but the money flow coming out is pretty bad. And let's just mark out some levels here. We have that fresh weekly level coming in at about let's see here. Wait, let me make sure that's right on there. 34.50, 34.49 there. Okay, and then you also have a daily level right there as well. So that 34.50 is nice. And if we look at, let me just go to the monthlies real quick to make sure that monthly was okay. That monthly actually should get rid of that. And that naked daily point of control has obviously been tapped, so we're going to get rid of that. We're right around that monthly naked daily point of control. But now let's go ahead and zoom in onto the 4-hour chart. And to me, this looks like it could be a 3-wave corrective move. So let's go from the highs to the lows to the lower highs. Yeah, you're going to be looking in that general area between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236. But coming down to this weekly, it's also a daily down here at the pitchfork band, the lower band of the pitchfork. You rejected the upper band, lost the midline. So you can expect a move down to the lower band. And let's go ahead and look at if we have any naked weekly points of control down there. No naked weeklies. This is going to be bad if we close this today. Oh, man. Okay, I want to mark this out real quick. Naked weekly. And let's mark out. I mean, we do have this naked weekly down here at the bottom of the pitchfork at 28 cents. That's going to be really important. Just going to mark that real quick. Come on. Okay. We're bouncing from that naked daily point of control right now, or we're attempting to bounce from it. If we lose it, if we don't bounce here, and we could see a small bounce here, but I really think we're going to probably come down to the lower band. Let's check our Fibonacci pull. Yeah, and that 886 is down there as well. Right? If you put it based off log scale, which we are, 886. Now, in a sideways range, this is where the 886 really comes into shine, in a sideways range. And for our bigger, like our 4-hour range, we can just look at this range all around the midline, in between the upper band and the lower band, really, all this price action. Broke below the value area low already. Now, because we're breaking below the value area low of this range and we're breaking back inside the value area high of our much bigger accumulation range, we can expect to move overall down to our next major support level. Um, if this overall range in here is going to continue just doing this here, then we this could be a very, very nice bounce level. And if we're going to bounce from there, we could even look at the bounce from that 35 cent, 34.5 cent area. And let's just pull our fib down to that weekly. And then, coming up, let me get rid of this real quick. And let's take this golden pocket. Yeah, I mean, that golden pocket coming in is going to be right around the point of control of your upper range. So, and that would be considered fair value. You might see a sell off at fair value. People long down here take profit up here. And by the time we get up there, too, by the way, by the time we get up there, if our range is going to form for a bit and we're going to, chop around in here, bounce here, maybe form a little bit of a range around these bands like we do, push up to that midline again, point of control, golden pocket, pitchfork midline, reject that, continue to form this bigger range for a bit. So potentially nice long opportunity though. Curtis J, I'd actually set an alert on that weekly. Okay. Thank you, Tiamat, for deleting that scammer or whatever. Yeah, Isaac, tomorrow holiday starts. So packing today, getting some stuff ready today. Excited to go. I've been had this trip planned for 3 or 4 months. I hate to do this to you guys. I hate to leave right when the market's getting very volatile. I want to be there for you guys. I want to be there to provide updates and provide support. I am going to bring my laptop with me. And so I will try to keep you guys updated as much as possible. But we really do have a full itinerary. And yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, T Matt. I appreciate that. Uh, but I will try to keep you guys updated. And if you guys are in the Telegram group, it's easier to post a quick update in the Telegram rather than make a video. So I will probably be posting more in the Telegram group. If you guys want to get into that, remember you can get into that. It's pretty much free. You just have to sign up with ByteFi using my affiliate link down below in the description. You have to deposit $100. You'll get 20% discounts on trading fees, and you'll get a 50% deposit bonus. And then once you do that, there's a link for the Telegram in the description. All you have to do is join that Telegram group, type in /verify and your user ID here, and then it will get you in that Telegram group. So it's still your money to trade. You get a deposit bonus, you get discounts on trading fees, and you get access to a Telegram where I post my analysis. So to me, that's a win-win situation for both of us. Not charging a monthly fee for you guys to be in there. I don't want to do that. And yeah, if you guys want to join, feel free to. Overall, man, on this cow, I would say we could see some bounces, but we're below the value area high of our more macro range, and we're below the value area low of our more local range. So be aware that we could just continue this bleed down into this weekly level, into the 886, and potentially into that 1-to-1 that was a little bit below at like 34 cents. And then if we lose this general area of support, like this is going to be a general area of support. In here is going to be a general area of support. If we lose this, we're probably coming down to your naked weekly and the bottom of your pitchfork, with the point of control being some bouncage. We might, bounce here, reject here, come down here, bounce here, reject here, come down here, continuing that bearish momentum. And actually, I would like to look at our 1.618. Okay, yeah, you exactly. You could see a bounce around the POC in the 1.618 to create a lower high and then finish that impulse down. Overall, looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming down all the way down to the bottom. Okay, guys. But let's see here. What other coins do we want to look at? Thank you, Jesus77. I appreciate it. Not Egypt, man. Still within the United States. Uh, you know, it's my daughter's birthday, and we're just gonna go hang out for a couple weeks. I actually have some business in Florida too, so a little bit of business, a little bit of vacation. Gonna be great. Yeah, Florida. And I think there's supposed to be like 6 hurricanes that are hitting in the couple weeks that we're there. I'm gonna be there for 2 weeks. There's like 6 hurricanes hitting. Oh yes, XRP. Thank you. I will cover XRP. Unfortunately, guys, XRP. I do still think we're gonna get that bleed down to our level of support. Let's zoom out a bit on XRP. So XRP rejected the. We do have this descending channel on XRP, and it does look bullish overall, and I am still expecting new highs to come in. But when we were looking for that, let's zoom out to the daily, and I'll discuss this because we talked about on XRP. We've been talking about for about a month now, seeing a big push up in a wave one. We came down to our golden pocket and value area low in a wave two. We pushed exactly up to our 1.618 in a wave three. And this is our wave five targets, by the way. Between this and this is our wave five targets if this was the low. But in a more bullish scenario, let's do this here first of all. We expected new all-time highs once we bounce from this macro 382. And let's turn that, come in here. So we rejected directly from that 1.618 on our wave three here. And then in a wave four, you're expecting a move down between the 0.382 and the 0.5 of your wave three. So if we look at from the lows to the highs, and we look at those wave four targets, now let's put this on log scale. You can see that we bounced generally from that area. Remember, I was looking at the daily to bounce, and it was also the back test of the value area high of this macro range. This is the range that goes all the way back for the whole year of 2025. So broke out of the range, back tested the range, but we made a lower high. But what we're looking for, because your wave two lasted about 41 days. Let's see here. I think it was 41 or 39 days, something like that. 41 days, right? 41 days. Your wave four correction is generally as long or longer than your wave two correction in here. Now, when we did this 3-wave corrective move down into our target zone, it was awesome. And we bounced from the value area high. So I said, guys, this could be it. And we could be about to see a wave five up to, potentially up to that 1.618 at 424, completing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But as far as time goes, it was not near long enough. It was only, what was that? It was only like 2 weeks. Yeah, 15 days, 2 weeks or so. And so, and also the way we pushed down here, we were expecting a bigger complex correction. Wave fours are often complex corrections. So a W, a 3-wave move down in a W, a 3-wave move up in a wave X, and now we're looking for one more push down, potentially to that 0.5 in a Y, seeing that bigger WXY complex correction before then coming up to hit your targets in your wave five, completing your overall impulsive structure here on XRP. So I am still bullish on XRP. I am still expecting new highs, new all-time highs to be made on XRP. But as far as we could see a drop all the way down to 264, guys. We could absolutely come down to 264, bounce from that 264 level of support. And of course, we'll see bounces along the way. Locally, we have some local support coming in right below us. Now let's zoom in onto the 4-hour chart. Right below us, we have a naked daily point of control, a weekly level, and a daily level in confluence with that midline of the channel coming in there. And I expect some sort of bounce there. Now we have a liquidity grab into that area too from yesterday's low. And then on top of that, we could now come down to your macro 382. 382 has already been tapped though. We've already broke through the 382, so I wouldn't say that's a big. Let's actually just put on the 0.5 here. And so I would be looking at coming down. If you lose this area of support, yes, you'll come down. You'll probably see a bounce from this naked daily point of control, back test the channel, and then just a continuation and a grind down in your Y wave in this area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially a 5-wave impulse down. Or you could just see more complex corrective moves, coming down into this general area of support. Daily, you do have that fresh daily at 276, and that is going to be your macro value area high. If we lose 276, guys, we have to be very aware. If we lose it, bounce from the 0.5 and instantly reclaim it, I'm so bullish that you guys would not even imagine. But if we get stuck underneath 275-ish, let's say 275, then you're falling back inside your volume profile of this the entire year of 2025 after attempting a bounce and a lower high. And that would be a very bad scenario. That would be a very, very bad scenario where we could expect to move down to the point of control and potentially all the way down to your value area low down here at $2. Um, I'll have to say though, overall, I think XRP is bullish as heck, and I plan to potentially swing long in this general area here to bring up to like 424, maybe 388, 424, somewhere in there. As far as local resistance goes, we have this weekly up here in confluence with our 786 fib retrace. Just get that. Let's see. Yeah, thank you, T Man. I appreciate that, man. Yes, you do know where to send SEAL Team 6 if I don't come back, right? We'll do AVAX. We'll look at XRP or XMR. Oh, Monero just saw a 50% dump. Wow. Jeez. Okay, Monero might be compromised. That's really bad. I don't hold Monero, but yeah. I think Monero's been delisted off a lot of exchanges too. So locally, I expect more downside for XRP, at least coming down to that like 296 to 295 level. I want to see a bounce from here. Actually, I have an alert. Did I set an alert? No, I didn't. But I'm going to set an alert on this naked daily point of control to look for a scalp long. And then if we break that on, ultimately I would be looking to come pretty much back down to the range lows. See, the big thing about this correction that we've seen so far from the all-time highs, this you wouldn't really look at as a 5-wave move down. I mean, I guess you could. So in a bigger ABC correction, 5-wave move down, but this coming up to like pretty much take in confluence with the all-time high is very rare for a wave 2. So you'd really be looking at this as a correction in here, and then you have your big 3-way move down in a W. You have your 3-wave move in an X, and then you'd want to see a bigger 3-wave move in a Y coming down to this area, forming your bigger WXY. Well, alternative scenario is if you do count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have your 5-wave impulse down in an A wave, your 3-wave corrective move in a B wave, and then you're looking for a 5-wave impulse in a C wave. Either way, we're looking at the same sort of zigzag correction down to take longer in time, another 2 weeks or so, another week or so at the very least, because we want this to last 41 days or longer. It doesn't have to, but that's the general rule of thumb. So let's see here. 41 days would be about in this area out here. So yeah, if it lasts a little, this overall correction lasts a little bit longer, comes down to that 0.5, and then we could really start to cook up. Now, if we do come down and break these lows, we'll have to re-pull this fib based off of the new lows. But I do think XRP looks pretty bullish. This corrective move in this channel is nice to see, and we don't want to hit the golden pocket of this move. So if we turn on, actually just generally the 618, if you hit this 618 at 245, let's say, you will invalidate the impulse to the upside. But you could even wick past this 0.5 into the bottom of the channel. And what else is going to be there, guys? The key anchored VWAP is going to be there. So coming even down to like 257 ish, or like time wise 257, 259 could be something we look at. So I do look at CME charts, CME gaps. It's just not, I don't like spend a whole lot of time on them. I definitely, when a gap fills, you should pay attention to that and expect some sort of bounce. But I don't trade solely off CME gaps. Let's say that. Okay. Oops. AVAX. We covered AVAX yesterday, but AVAX is rejecting perfectly from our upper pitchfork band. We rejected the upper pitchfork band. We're back inside our volume profile. You can see this is our 4-hour range that we're trading in. And here's the thing with AVAX. After rejecting the top of the pitchfork band, we came down, we made a lower high rejecting from the value area high. That should confirm to you that we're trading back within the fair value of this range. Now, if you reject on a bearish backtest of the value area high and then you lose the POC, expect to move at least down to the value area low. So I expect to move at least down to $23, but our big area of support is going to be down just a little bit further, like seeing a little bit of wickage past that into this support level, reclaiming and continuing to trade this range in here would be what we want to see, and eventually breaking it out to the upside. I am bullish overall on AVAX, but locally I want more downside. And even coming down, like if we lose this value area low, bounce from this area, grabbing liquidity and golden pocket, and do not reclaim this value area low, I expect a move to continue down to the daily level and the pitchfork midline. Reject the upper band, see a move down to the midline. Very, very similar to what Bitcoin did here. Reject, let me zoom out because this was a higher time frame thing, but reject the upper band, see a move down to the midline. Bounce from the midline, come up to the upper band again. Reject the upper band. Are we going to see a move down to the midline again? So Avalanche rejected the upper band. Are we going to see a move down to that midline again? And once again, a lot of these coins are creating those bearish scenarios of a potential topping reversal pattern. Left shoulder head, right shoulder, break in market structure. So you're looking for a lower high, got the lower high. There is a potential even coming down to $19, lower low. That's more bearish case scenario. Yeah, I mean, that area is just generally your area you want to be looking at. You could even pull it from here. So, bear divs confirmed 12 hours. You can see higher highs here, lower highs here. Now, money flow has been draining out on the 12-hour ever since, even creating, I guess that's not local bear divs, but on NAMI, local bear divs here. So I'm expecting a dump at least down to that golden pocket area, right? So if you take a golden pocket from the lows of this impulse to the highs of this impulse, you turn on that golden pocket. Well, we already have it marked out from yesterday. That is going to be our $22.50 area. Grabbing the liquidity internally, and maybe we'll see a move back up, continuing to trade within this range. That's a bullish, that's honestly the bullish case scenario, is just grabbing this liquidity and then continuing to push up to the top of the pitchfork. Thank you, Quiles, for the super chat. I appreciate that, man. We did do Sol. Sol is looking bad because we're breaking down below the value area high. So let's see. We did AVAX. We did Sol. We did, but real quick for Sol, just an update on that. Like, you have your, let's zoom out onto the daily time frame. And let's look at, so this is our biggest range here. We are rejecting from the value area high of your biggest range, and we're starting to drop here. But if we look at our more important range, and the reason why I say this one is more important is, let me get rid of some of these. Sometimes I don't delete these ranges. I'll hide them and I'll forget to go back and delete them. There's, yes. This is our major range. Okay. So if we're looking at from the 2024 highs, March of 2024 highs, sideways, we have our value area high. We've attempted to break out of the value area high. We rejected. We saw a three wave move down to your anchored VWAP. Now we're attempting again to break out. We failed. We grabbed liquidity and we're breaking back underneath the value area high of the range. So now we're getting stuck back inside of this volume profile between $190 and $126 down in this area. There's a potential that we could come all the way back down to the point of control or even to the value area low. That's a very bearish case scenario. But in a more bullish case scenario, we're going to bounce from local support levels from the bottom of the channel, from the anchored VWAP here, grabbing liquidity of your lows into that $155 area and then seeing that bounce. But now that we're back, and if we close today's daily candle back inside this value area, we could expect more downside to come. And even locally, let's go to the 2-hour chart. Locally, we do have some, if you pull your golden pocket from the lows of this impulse to the highs of this impulse, coming down around this $175 area, it's around these lows. Yes, you would see a little bit of a wickage past it. I actually like the 786 because the 786 is around the anchored VWAP, that $167 area. And then if we look at our naked daily points of controls, naked daily point of control is around that general area as well. And we also have that naked day. Let's just throw on both the golden pocket and the. So this golden pocket is going to be nice though, because you have a naked daily point of control in there. You have a golden pocket in there. I expect at least some sort of bounce in this area. Gosh dang it. At least some sort of bounce between 176 and 174. With maybe a itty bit of a wick to grab the liquidity at 173. So something like this, boom, push up, back test $189, $190, and then continuation down, potentially to grab these lows. Okay, guys, I was gonna do a shorter stream today. I still have a lot to get done today. And if you guys don't have anything else, let's see. Let's check Bitcoin real quick. Just keep watching this area of support for Bitcoin, guys, because we could actually, it's probably likely that we see a bounce from this area. We are starting to develop some bull divs on the charts. Even locally, if we come down into this area, 24-minute bull divs here. Money flows curving to the upside on NAMI. So 116.5 to 116.2 is an area I'm looking for a little bit of bounce. But earlier today, rejecting from the bearish backtest of the point of control and the anchored VWAP was a bad sign, showing that we should at least expect new daily lows. And then as far as the total market cap goes, I think we could continue bleeding out on the total market cap until we get to that golden pocket 1-to-1 area. And that could take a week or 2 weeks. So we might see this correction continue overall with lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, all the way down to that general area. Yeah, and you're right, Tiamat, taking trades on the weekends, especially if you don't trade on the weekends, you know, you probably don't want to sit there and babysit a trade over the weekend. But for me, it is a good, at least scalp long opportunity. I don't know if I'll take it or not. I'll keep you guys updated in the Telegram group. I have a lot to do this weekend and traveling and stuff like that. So I don't know if I'm gonna want to babysit it, but it's at least a good long opportunity. If you guys are available and want to trade that, it could be a good long opportunity. I would say we have bearish momentum locally now, guys. Lower lows, lower highs, potential already lower lows for the day, and this momentum trend could continue. So just be aware of that. We are coming to the value area low of the range after a failed breakout. So you probably expect some sort of bounce there. Some people are probably going to be interested in that, even though we're going into the weekend. So thank you guys so much for joining. I know it was kind of a boring stream today, but we at least got a chance to discuss some of what to expect over the next couple of weeks. I really pay attention to XRP, and I'm glad. I'll check near. I'll check near for you, Curtis, real quick, and then we'll go. Yeah, there's some good opportunities still in the market for trades. So now we're still looking for near to come down to that golden pocket area. We do have our local 886 in confluence with the naked daily point of control that we front ran earlier today. So be aware that that 262 area could be an area where we could see a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a relief bounce. But I'm honestly overall expecting to come down to like that 254 to 252 area where we have our golden pocket in confluence with our point of control of the range and even a bit of a liquidity grab into that. That for me would be the long opportunity that I highlighted. And in that area, we'd be looking to come up to actually hit the value area high, which was front run at 311, front run a couple days ago, and front run here. Let's go to our 12-hour chart. Yeah, I would want to see it hold. If we don't hold that 252 area, then we're probably going to work our way down to the value area low at 219. To 221 to 217. That's your major. That could be a swing long opportunity though. If we mark this out, this could be a very good swing long opportunity. And potential spot buy opportunity. Locally, I expect more downside. You did have some bear divs in this area, higher highs, lower highs here. Money flow topped out after topping out there. And even though we came up and made a lower high here, money flow has been continuing to drain out of the asset. Locally, even you kind of form bear divs. It's more of a double top on NAMI. Those bear divs did form, and money flow on NAMI is crossing into the red here. And it's about, in the next week or so, it could cross into the red here on market cipher B. So that does suggest at least a move down to the POC. But if we lose that POC, you can expect to move down to the value area low. Just simple market auction theory. Volume profile trading. If the market is bullish, they will be willing to step in and buy at fair value. And fair value, we do have that confluence of our golden pocket of this impulse up. But you guys have a good weekend. I will try to keep you as updated as much as I can in the next couple of weeks. I will be back. I promise you I will be back unless I get eaten by a shark or something like that, which it's not going to happen. Uh, I do plan to try some surfing, but I will be back and we will be back on the charts. We will make these gains, set up these trades. And I'm thinking about when we get back, guys, we should probably do something like when I was in Jason's Discord and I was streaming in his Discord, we opened a BuyFi account, we put $1,000 into it, and we started this trading challenge. And I just kind of got it was a very awesome time in the market. So I was trading my bigger accounts, and we weren't looking at trading that smaller $1,000 account. So if we do, when we do come back, we might start something like where we open a new account with BuyFi, throw $1,000 in there, and show you guys risk management, show you guys actually how to trade, actually how to calculate your position size ahead of time based off of this stop loss, and set up trades in advance ahead of time and how to execute on those trades. I really do think that risk management is the biggest key in trading. And even people like me that make mistakes on risk management, people that have been trading for years, doesn't matter who it is, Jason, all the greats out there, you could have the absolute best TA, but if you do not understand risk management and you risk too much per trade, you can win 10 trades in a row. And that one trade that you do lose is going to be the one that wrecks your account and puts you back by months. So I want to really, a lot of this, what this channel is about teaching you guys about actually doing it for yourselves. And of course, if you want to stay around in the community, we can build a great community as well. But I want everyone that follows me to be a successful trader, to be, self-sufficient and go on being profitable overall. So that's something we'll look at when we come back, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Please hit the like button on your way out. Have a good weekend, everyone. Be safe, and I will see you